Hey, Wanda, thanks for being willing
Hi,
to do this with
Sarah.
us.
Lovely to see you.
Great to see you. And your studio in Winnipeg is one of my favorite places to be. And you're there a
Oh,
lot these days. I think
yeah,
one
yeah.
of the things people are finding is just how lovely it is to be undisturbed in the studio for days on end.
It's interesting. I'm working on these strange robot heads, and I realize they're actually portraits of uncertainty, and I
Yes.
couldn't quite figure them out before. And
Now you know where you're going with
on.
it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So in your own life, museums, like I know that you've told me a little bit about your life over the years, and the house that you grew up in, the environment that you grew up in was not really one where there was a lot of art around, at
hmm
least not the kind of art that hangs on the wall.
When I was 7, I had the opportunity of attending Saturday morning children's classes, and they
Yes.
happened to be positioned in the Winnipeg Art Gallery, and which is now the old archives
Yeah.
building. And so I actually got to see real art
Hmm.
for the first time at the age of 7.
And what do you remember seeing?
Well, there were sort of two parts. One that was incredible was we were taken to see a Vincent van Gogh exhibition in the basement of the Norquay building, which was just across the street from it's hard to believe, but
Yeah.
Van Gogh exhibition in the basement of a municipal building.
Those were the glory
And
days.
I was I was 7, and
Yeah.
I I was transformed, and I left the exhibition thinking, that's what I'm going to do.
Really?
I can do this. And I was 7, and it changed my life.
And what was it that got you so excited?
The
Do you remember?
color, the movement, the emotion, and the fact that it was a room full of work by one person.
Yeah. Before you saw this Van Gogh exhibition,
Mhm.
you hadn't seen a whole room of art by one person before. What had your experience been before then?
My early experience when I first started going to Saturday morning children's classes, and we worked on the floor in the gallery, and so I got to see individual works by Lemoyne Fitzgerald, Group of 7, Christina Fluch, uh, the Lord Gort collection, but they were all individual works.
Mhm.
And I had no concept that probably each one of those works represented a lifetime of someone's experience.
Or a whole
And
vision?
all,
Yeah.
yeah. And so when we got to see this exhibition by Vincent van Gogh, the lights came on. It
Yeah.
was, oh my God, I can do this. And I struggled a lot as a child just to be in the world. And it seemed to be an avenue for me. I could see this as being something that I mean, I took it to an extreme when our room was painted yellow in my grade school room was painted yellow. We were given an option of a Tom Thompson print, and I can't quite remember which one it was now, and a Vincent van Gogh sunflowers. And the
Mhm.
class voted for the Tom Thompson. And I had just seen the sunflowers, and I guess sort of threw a fit. Uh, I went to the front of the class and I said that the room was yellow and it had the sun. The sun lit up the room and made it yellow, and we needed sunflowers to complete this whole room.
Yes.
And apparently I was persuasive enough, and we ended up with the sunflower print at the front of the room. The next big moment was a trip to Vancouver when I was 19 years old with my partner at the time. And I was in art school, and all the profs, most of them came from the States.
Mhm.
And the emphasis was on a kind of formal painting, referencing the New York school.
So
And
abstraction.
yeah. And so my first paintings when I was 19 were large canvases with abstract shapes and patterns. Still have a few. And I really enjoyed making them, but there was something that was going on that didn't satiate who I was as
Yeah.
a young woman. And we traveled to Vancouver, and I was born in Vancouver, and it was my first trip back as an adult. And I was quite excited, and we immediately went to the Vancouver Art Gallery. We went to see an Emily Carr exhibition. And it was the first exhibition I had seen of a woman artist.
Mm-hmm.
And the work was emotional and internal, and it struck such a chord that on the way home, I started drawing from the car and making small notes. And I realized that the work had to come from my life and not from art history. And it really changed the course of my trajectory as a young painter.
What did you feel in those car paintings? Why did they get under your skin the way they did?
Well, they were powerful. They were emotive. They came from a much deeper place than what I was sort of being encouraged to create. And if you think of the Raven painting, years later, I painted an 8-foot by 12-foot Raven painting as part of my 9 signs, and it became. I think I made the first note for the Raven painting that I did later on that trip home, a raven on a post. And for me, the raven became a symbol of maybe the artist alone watching the world from a high place.